Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Victoria. I'm a mum of 5 in the UK. I'm sat in the kitchen. I did tell my 7-year-old and my 8-year-old to be quiet in the next room, but they're not going to be. So if you hear any noises, it's them. I just wanted to talk about make, do and mend and homemaking. I think a lot of people think make, do and mend is a negative thing, like in making do. So I like to say make good and mend. Make good with what you have and mend. Like my curtains in my bedroom, I've had them I've had them about 14 years now. I bought them purely because they was black, because my husband, before he got ill, always used to work nights, so he'd be asleep during the day. And he didn't need it to be bright in our bedroom. Same as we've always had a baby or a toddler. And you know what happens if light gets in, the toddler thinks it's time to wake up even though it's 4 a.m. So that's the sole reason I bought them. They had a little cut in them and I've been lazy and not sewed it up when it first happened. Partly because they're in my bedroom, so I only saw them sort of when I was busy doing something else or when it was time for bed. So I was like, I'll leave that. Anyway, the toddler pulled it and it cut across the whole thing. So I thought I'm going to have to sew them up. One, I can sew them up because I can mend them and then I won't have to pay £30 for a new pair of curtains. And 2, we're moving soon, so I don't really want to buy anything new in case I want to buy new at the new place. So I thought, well, I'll mend them and I'll take them up as well because they was right down to the floor and I thought maybe they'll look a bit neater if I take them up. So I ended up taking that one up and the other one up and putting them back. Ideally, I could have jazzed them up by sewing some lace at the bottom or cutting apart something I don't need anymore with a jazzy pattern on it and making a kind of trim on it. But like I say, because we sleep in there, the toddler as well, I don't want him getting up too early, and my husband's an insomniac, sometimes he sleeps during the day. Them curtains needed to be washed and mended and put back as fast as possible. This is me cleaning the window out, cleaning round the dog, you'll see. Can't go disturbing the dog that's sunbathing. So yeah, I mended them. Used the skills that my mum's passed on to me to sew them, to mend them. It didn't take very long. And I've saved myself some money. I mean, when people have lost skills now and it's kind of looked down upon. But me and my husband both grew up in houses where if it was broke, you'd mend it. If your school shoes, if the sole was hanging off, you'd super glue it back on. If they were scuffed, you'd marker pen them or polish them to make them look black again. If clothes had holes in them, you'd sew them up. You know what I mean? We didn't grow up in wasteful households. And looking back, my parents were not misers. We had what we wanted at birthdays, we had what we wanted at Christmas, we went on days out, we went on holiday. My parents were not misers at all, but they were very sensible with their money. And when I look back, I had friends where you go around the house and there was nothing in the house because that's how poor they were. Because I was born at the end of the miners' strike, or when there was lots of unemployment. Or I had a friend who used to get clothes for Christmas, and I remember as a kid thinking, why is she having clothes for Christmas? But as an adult, I now know that she got clothes for Christmas because she wouldn't have got clothes otherwise. And you don't realise as a kid. But like I say, looking back and thinking about what these kids' parents' jobs were or what benefits they was getting or whatever, that they was on a lot more money than my mum and dad were, and we never did with that. And I think a lot of that is because my mum and dad had the make, do and mend mentality. They weren't wasteful. They mended things. They sourced things out cheaper. They made sure they never ever got in debt. They made sure bills were paid. If my mum had extra money, she'd spend it on tins so that if they had any less money, we had food and things like that. And now the cost of living is affecting people. I don't want people to think, oh no, I'm doing a bad job as a parent because my kids are having to look at me, budget and make, do and mend and make good with what I've got. Because that's not damaging your kids in any way. If anything, it's teaching them how to be resourceful and how to be sensible with the money and how to never get in debt and how to cope. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm still scraping mould off the walls. It's still, and what I'm doing my best. Like I say, it's disheartening when you're doing your best to keep a nice home, but every now and again you have to scrape this black mould off the walls. But like I said in my last video, our council banding has gone up. So we're making good with what we've got until we can move. So there'll be lots of decluttering videos coming up, because as well as trying to make this into a home where we can live, now I'm thinking we need to make this into a home where we can leave when we need to. So I really need to start decluttering a bit more and getting ready to go. And mould also means it's getting colder. So there's nothing nicer than settling in at night, now the nights are drawing in, and having a fry up. We don't have fry ups very often, but I had a load of vegetables in the fridge. I knew we was having a Sunday dinner the next day, so all those vegetables could be on the Sunday dinner. So I was looking at what we got and thinking, right, what can we have? We've got eggs, we've got bacon, we've got potatoes, we've got baked beans. Let's have a type of full English breakfast. So that's another thing, you see, being sensible with your food. I could have gone out and bought something else and not used what was in, or I could have used those vegetables that were meant to be for the next day and then go out and have to buy vegetables the next day. So it's all about being mindful and budgeting everything. Oh, Carol, who I work with, she's turned 65, so I bought, and a cat died recently, so I bought her some flowers. And I bought myself a little posy as well, because it was our 15-year wedding anniversary, and my husband's ill, so he's a bit, he's housebound at the minute, so he's not going to go out and buy me flowers. So I was like, right, I'm going to buy myself some flowers because I deserve it after 15 years of marriage. Frankly. So yeah, I had the purple set. Carol will work, we've had the pink set. And I didn't have a vase, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and put them in that canal jug I've got. Don't know if it holds water, we'll see if it is, and it did. My toddler was very interested. He kept pulling the flowers back out and shoving them in that teapot, and that's not very helpful. Oh, I do like some flowers though. I thought they might cheer me up, because when I was given some, they did cheer me up, so I thought, well, I'll get some and see if they look nice, and they do, don't they? And the zip on my coat was broke, so I thought I better mend that as well. It's a really good coat. I've had it about 5 years now. It keeps me warm. But every year I bust the bottom of the zip when I bend over and have to sew it back on. So instead of buying a new coat, I sew it back on. And it saved me loads of money and kept that coat alive and in function. My toddler was filling in the sink while I was doing it. I had to keep looking over and checking they were all right. And eventually my husband come in and got him away from the sink. It's because he loves water play. He has got a water table, but I brought that in the other day and he wouldn't play with it. He'd rather play in the sink. So if you like that video, please subscribe. I do homemaking, low budget homemaking and motherhood. Bye bye.